Hello there everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another episode of Should You Pull for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Now today we're going to be taking a quick look at Aphmau and Lion's banner, which will also be accompanied with Prishe without her EX. Lion will be getting a realization on her EX weapon and Aphmau will be getting a full rework as well as an EX weapon that's brand new. Now today I'm going to be making the video a little bit shorter than usual. Normally I would go over the event, I'd go over the characters, I'd go over everything, but I'm sure a lot of you have seen that recently I've not been in the best of health, so today I'm actually making the video a little bit shorter and we're just going to discuss Lion and Aphmau themselves and ultimately whether you should pull on this banner. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, then stay tuned and keep on watching. As always, everybody, don't forget to check out all of the social media links in the description box below, including Twitter, Twitch, Discord, and Patreon. On Twitch, even though I've not been at 100% for the last little while, I am always doing my absolute best to bring you guys coverage of every new event for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia as they come out, and Aphmau's event will be no different. Lost Chapters coming out, we've got summer events coming up, we've got Eldnash and Garnet, and we all know how much I want Garnet's EX again at last. So definitely come and check me out on Twitch if you'd like to learn more about what's going on there. On Patreon as well, I always give a shout out to one of my patrons at random to give a massive thank you to each and every person that decides to support the channel further. And today that person is going to be Blood Otaku, who has actually been a follower of mine since the very beginning of my Final Fantasy TCG days, so a massive thank you goes out to you in particular. Don't forget to check out all of the websites out there for Dissidia Final Fantasy, including Dissidia Info, Dissidia DB, Tombury Troop, and all of that other good stuff. And of course, don't forget to check out all the other content creators besides myself. Those guys might actually be able to provide you a bit more information on the event itself as opposed to just the characters. As I said, while ordinarily I would normally cover it, today I'm just going to be covering the characters themselves. Now, seeing as Prishe doesn't come with her EX, and it wasn't that long ago that we covered Prishe anyway, I'm not going to be talking about her with this particular Final Fantasy XI themed banner. So we're going to start with Lion. Now, Lion doesn't actually have a rework or anything, but basically if you've not used her before, Lion's main shtick is dealing damage to enemies that are not targeting her. Basically, she does a lot more bravery damage to enemies as long as she's not in their sights and that you can see on the screen. And it's actually pretty staggering, the difference in damage that she does when attacking somebody that isn't targeting her. So Sneak Attack basically is just a brave HP attack that does a decent amount of damage, but if you've got, and it has a decent amount of brave overflow, but it doesn't really do anything all that special. It's just a brave HP attack. But when we get over to her EX weapon, you'll see why it's kind of quite basic. But the main thing it does do is that after you use Sneak Attack, both of her skills gain a hide ability, which basically means it doesn't really matter if the enemy is targeting her or not. She'll still deal the damage that she would have done even if they weren't. Powder Keg is actually quite a good attack. Like I've used Lion since her EX came out the first time, and I actually really like Lion. But basically, Powder Keg is a brave HP attack that has splash damage on it, and it also inflicts defense down and max brave down on the enemies, whilst improving her max brave and her critical rate. And it actually makes quite a big difference to her damage. 5 brave HP with splash damage is fairly okay at this point. It could be better, like we've seen other characters with brave HP attacks that are significantly stronger, but not in combination with like these buffs, debuffs, things like that. And her Sneak Attack actually isn't like, it's 4 brave HP, like it's no Master Blade from Leo. It's not going to do like 8 brave multiple HP attacks or anything like that, but it's nice as something to spam in order to get to her EX attack. Her C65 ability, her Sneak Thrust, is actually very nice as well because it's a 2-hit brave HP attack that raises her attack. It's just an extra attack, which I actually really enjoy. I felt like it. She was one of the first characters that had an attack like this when her C70 first came out, and I actually quite like it still. But looking at Vardra, which is her EX weapon, Walk the Plank is an interesting attack. Like basically what this banner is trying to do is kind of cover Dispel and Debuff Evasion all at once. So it's kind of buff slash debuff, and Lion covers the Dispel part of that because her EX weapon dispels everything from all enemies, which is actually kind of nice. And it also recovers use of Sneak Attack. So basically, kind of like how like certain other characters like Gilgamesh who restore use of their spammable attack, Lion has a similar thing there. But the main kind of weirdness when it comes to Lion's EX attack is that if you use it after any ally turn, including herself, I think it's including herself, I could be wrong on that, it's been a while since I've used Lion, you get an additional 4-hit brave HP attack at the end. So when you get the realization with this, when you use just a book, it increases the hit count of Walk the Plank and the after effect, the Walk the Plank light, which makes its hit count much, much stronger. And she finally gets an HP plus attack, which is a 2-hit melee brave HP attack. It's kind of nice. And she gets overflow on all of her stuff, which is much, much better. Like, it means the sneak attack actually does a lot better, even if they are targeting her. If you're gonna use Lion, though, try and pair her up with a provoke tank, someone like Snow or Zac, because it will help Lion a huge amount. Now, with 1 ingot, she also gets action delay up on all enemies for 6 turns, included in the kit that she's got with Walk the Plank, and this actually I really like. If you're using this in combination with speed downs and things like that, then that can rack up really well, and it obviously increases her stats like it does everybody. And then 2 out of 3, she starts with all of her buffs from the get-go, and none of these buffs are frame, they're nothing super impressive, they're nothing major, but they're nice to start the fight with. And then with 3 out of 3, she gets it transforms her attack into a multi-HP attack. So it's a 4-hit AoE, melee brave HP attack executed twice. Bear in mind, if you're using it correctly and you're using it to get Walk the Plank light as well, you're getting an additional brave HP attack on the end of it. So you actually get 3, which the only, Cloud of Darkness does a similar kind of thing, although she gets 6 hits on every attack she does, so her damage is going to be a lot higher. But she does get bravery refunded after each of those HP attacks, so it does actually calculate to quite a large amount of damage. I don't dislike Lion. I think she's okay, but she's definitely not the character you're pulling on this banner for. Like, if you're lacking in Dispel characters, like you don't have Arciella, who quite honestly I'd be surprised at this point at a lot of people that don't, or maybe they just missed her banner or something like that, then having Lion available, or any kind of Dispel character, so Vanille as well, Balthea, any kind of character like that, it's going to be handy to have, especially if you don't have a character like her. This banner is great for characters or for players that don't have characters that can have Dispel, have debuff evasion, things like that, because it's just, this banner's handy, or Lion is handy. Aphmau is really good, Lion is okay. If you've got other Dispel characters, you really don't need Lion. She's got a cool kit, but if you don't want to bring a tank, or a tank's not particularly good for for whatever fight you're bringing her to, then she does lose a lot of her potency, because if an enemy is targeting her, unless you've got the hide part of her skills don't do very much damage at all. So while I like Lion because her animations are fast, and Lord knows I like a character with quick animations, she's not someone I would personally go out of my way for. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Aphmau. Now, Aphmau is, for want of a better term, complicated. Now, she's a support character, she's offensive support, she's defensive support, she does a half-decent amount of damage, and her EX is actually very strong. So, if you've not used Aphmau before, she was a character that did extremely well with just a 15 and 35 when she first came out, despite the fact that there had actually been quite a few EXs released by this point. In fact, it wasn't long before EX Plus had started to come out when Aphmau came out, and she was still good. She was using a lot of early Chaoses, but what she does is her attacks are brave HP attacks that set up different types of support capabilities. So Shield Subverter will set up Neijing's Tactics and Automaton, as will 6th Element as well. Neijing's Tactics is a defensive aura where if you go into looking at what she does, what she gets from her passives and everything like that, it basically makes it so that you've got brave damage resistance, defense up, and debuff evasion, which if you get her 35 maxed out, 15 maxed out, her passives, everything like that, it's as good debuff evasion as Lena's, which is very strong. And then Automaton is something that the party members get that give them a massive amount of brave regen at the beginning of every turn, dependent on their initial bravery. It also gives her a Brave Attack Plus called Fine Tuning, which makes it so that you get a longer duration on her Neijing's Tactics and the allies' Automaton. So basically Automaton should always be active as long as you're continually using her skills and her Brave HP pluses. 6th Element, on the other hand, is a more offensive-based attack, where it's got 50% a lot of decent amount of Brave Overflow. It's got 50% splash damage, which is new to it because she does have a slight rework. Basically, the rework makes it so that Shield Subverter has more Brave hits and a larger amount of Brave Overflow. 6th Element gains splash damage and more Brave Overflow. So if you've used her before, then you'll have something to look forward to regardless. And then Ovjang's Tactics basically increases all your offensive stats instead. So you want your max Brave up, attack up, and speed up. Pretty much everything you'd want from an offensive buff. The thing with Aphmau is that you need to keep on top of her buffs at all times, and she takes up a lot of buff slots on herself, so you have to be very careful with buff overwriting and things like that. But if you keep Ojang's tactics and Neijing's tactics as going as long as you can, as long as you're keeping on top of it, and you have to make sure you're watching the durations of all of her buffs at all times, then she actually provides ridiculous amounts of stat bonuses, because all of the stuff that you get from Ojang and Neijing's tactics is spread across the party, and Automaton is like the only buff that they get, that the actual allies get. So it's complicated, and it's a bit of a headache at times to kind of keep on top of all of these buff durations and make sure you're using the right move at the right time. But they don't tickle. They're half decent attacks as well, so it's not something to worry about all that much, as long as you're happy to actually keep on top of the things that you're meant to be keeping on top of when it comes to the duration of her buffs, because if she loses any of them, it does drop you down quite a lot. Her EX weapon is completely new, and her EX weapon is actually very strong. So without even looking at books and ingots, basically you get 2 turns of a special effect called Ojang and Neijing, which are her 2 puppets. It also gives a 4-hit Brave HP attack with some overflow on it. This doesn't sound like much, and that does actually get better with the various things that you get from ingots and books, etc. But while Ojang and Neijing is active, it changes her Brave and HP attacks. So fine-tuning and optimization are what you are using to keep extending your buffs and stuff like that. You're making sure you're keeping on top of it as much as possible. But what these do, instead, they replace them. They are stronger attacks themselves. So HP attack plus Neijing is a 3-hit Brave HP attack that refunds some bravery to her. It also extends her own buffs by a turn, and it also gives the Automaton and Fine Tuning buffs a longer duration as well on her allies. Now, the main thing to remember here is that you don't actually take up any turns or any kind of action delay at all. So she has literally 2 free turns to make sure that she's keeping on top of her buffs, making sure that her allies have got their buffs, and just making sure that she's dealing a decent amount of damage the whole time. We've learned from Aphmau already that having free turns and being able to keep on top of things without actually having to delve into your skills is extremely valuable. And then similarly, where her Brave attack becomes Neijing's attack, her HP attack turns into Ojang's attack, which is again a more offensive based thing where it does an AoE Brave HP that deals split damage across the board, has a good amount of Brave overflow, also inflicts speed down on the enemies as well, and it also extends the buffs that are given by Ojang, so Automaton and optimization, and extends her own buffs so she doesn't lose her own buff. So basically, like I said, the main downside to Aphmau, if there is one, is the fact that you do have to keep an eye on every single buff that she has up, whether it be optimization, fine-tuning, and Automaton on her allies, or Ojang's tactics, Neijing's tactics on herself. The Ojang Neijing buff, that's luckily a non-buff, if that makes sense, kind of like Cryals, where it sits above your buffs, so that doesn't sort of tap into your 6. So that's the only kind of headachy thing that you have to deal with. But when you put Power Stones into it, you also get another framed buff called Resolute Courage, which raises her max bravery and attack quite a lot, and it also raises her party's initial bravery, which, bearing in mind that Automaton is bravery gen based on your initial bravery, is actually really valuable. And we haven't even gone into like ingots and books and stuff. Just a book, the actual attack, Imperial Authority, gets harder, it hits more times, you get a more you just get more Brave overflow and more stolen Brave overflow, so basically you just get like 150% overflow on it. It's just, it hits harder. 1 out of 3 standard stat buffs. 2 out of 3, she starts with both of her buffs up, which is really good for her, actually, because of how much it benefits her party, and it means that she can just go straight into her Brave HP attacks if you want to, although you don't really have to, because she starts with her EX gauge maxed out, so you'll be able to go straight in to Imperial Authority, get Ojang Neijing out, and just be able to just go straight in with those really powerful HP pluses from either puppet she wants to use, whether you're going defensive, going offensive, making sure you're keeping on top of all of her buffs. And then with 3 out of 3, Imperial Authority hits harder again, so we're like 8-hit Brave HP attack with a even more hefty amount of Brave overflow is actually nothing to sniff at, considering the speed at which it recovers and the number of skill uses she actually has. And then HP plus Neijing becomes HP plus Neijing, where it just hits harder, but it also heals the party as well, which is really nice. And then HP plus Ojang becomes HP plus Ojang, and it also gets a higher Brave hit, more potency, more Brave overflow. It's going to hit harder. So basically, Aphmau can fill every role you could want her to as long as you're willing to put the effort into maintaining her. Because she's not an easy character to play with. She is a character where you want to use skills that you didn't necessarily plan out to begin with just to keep her buffs active. But once she has all of her buffs going, she's an absolute monster. So now let's talk about whether I think this banner is worth pulling on, because I know a lot of players are more worried about saving their resources than grabbing the characters strewn throughout July because they want to save up for August and the dawn of the burst and LD or limited weapon era. Now, I think that this banner is one that you're pulling on purely for Aphmau. Like, Lion is okay. She's not bad. Like, I mean, she's in a similar boat to where I found Zidane, although a lot of people told me off and told me that Zidane was way better than I thought he was. But with Lion, I think that the only reason you're going for her is if you have, like, no other Dispel characters. Because she's very, very hit or miss. Like, if an enemy is targeting her, she doesn't do anything. She's just not very good at all. If you can carry a tank along with her, then she does perform a lot better. I like her because I like the speed of her animations, and I think she's really fun to play because I really like Walk the Light Plank. I think it's really cool, but ultimately you don't need her at any given point. Aphmau, on the other hand, is really powerful. Like, the auras, the damage, the support buffs, the healing, she does everything all at once in one kit. However, I think that the main thing you actually want Aphmau for is that debuff evasion. So if you have Lena, then you don't have to pull for Aphmau. Like, Aphmau is better than Lena. I will put that, I think that she's better than Lena because she does so much more than just debuff evasion. But she's not so much better than Lena than you'd go into the banner, like, have to pity into it and then, like, come out of it with a Lion or something like that instead. Because Lion, you know, does drag the banner down a little bit, in my opinion. But Aphmau is so good that as long as you're happy to, like, babysit her, I suppose is the best way to put it, she does pay out in dividends. Like, she does, like, her surplus damage, her, like I said, the amount of stat buffs you gain, the Brave regen is astronomical. She is very, very long lasting because of her Brave HP attack. I think that if you are lacking a debuff evasion character, you can't go wrong with Aphmau. Like, if you, like, you can make so many good FF11 teams at this point, and we're about to get another really good FF11 character as well. Between Arciela and Aphmau, your support is completely covered. Like, they're so strong together. And honestly, I think that while future banners are important, and I think that people are going to want to save for August and beyond, I think that to just ignore Aphmau outright would be a mistake. Like, I think that at least throwing a few tickets at her, even if you do have Lena, I think that she is an upgrade. Don't feel you have to if you have other debuff evasion characters. I think that if your only debuff evasion character is like Ignis, then I think maybe now is time for an upgrade. But I think Lena is strong enough that you can leave Aphmau if you really want to. So that's going to be all from today's video. I do apologise very much for not going over the event and everything like that, but I honestly, these past few days, I've not been able to be at my computer to actually, like, read into the event or anything like that, so I apologise that the video is shorter. I am still going to be streaming tomorrow with any luck, so as long as the doctors don't call me in or anything. So do check me out on Twitch as well. Let me know in the comments below whether you plan to pull for Aphmau or Lion. I'm tempted to purple Lion, even though I don't think she's very good, just because I love her. And I will probably put tickets into Aphmau's banner, but I'm not sure I'm going to go in with gems because I have Lena and I'm more concerned about August and beyond. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let me know what you guys plan to take for the event itself, or if you're saving for somebody else, let me know who you're saving for. So like I said, that's going to be it from me. Don't forget to like the video, share it out, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications on any future videos that I have, and I will see you in the next video or on the next stream. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care.